Hi, Petra.
Hi, Krystina.
It's so good to see you. I know usually we'd be at camp right now, and it's sad that we can't all be together in the Karpaty, but I think it's so awesome that we have this virtual opportunity to share stories and reminisce about camp and relive some of the workshops and things online. So it's really great to see you.
Even virtually, nice to see you too.
I want to share one of the stories that is the reason why I got involved in Help Us in the first place and that I decided to stay with the organization. I was at camp in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and it was my first camp, and we were at an anti-human trafficking workshop. I was there with my group of kids, and there was a little girl from the East named Ivanka, and we were watching a video that was made for North American audiences. And it was about a girl who had been trafficked from Ukraine to New York City and the horrific experiences that she went through. And I was just sitting there, and I remember looking around and just had tears streaming down my face. And I'll never forget when Ivanka put her hand on my back and started rubbing my back and said, "Don't worry, like, this is just a part of life. It's okay." Which of course affected me even more, because I thought, like, no, this is not just a part of life. And it made me very much more aware of the privileged life I had led, and just how sad it was that this little girl so many miles away from where I live, believes this. And I thought, I need to stay with this organization that really gets to this grassroots level with these kids to try and teach them that this is not okay. Shouldn't be a part of your life. Like, let's teach you resilience and leadership and skills that will help you succeed in life and not end up in this horrific, heartbreaking situation, and to believe in more and to want more. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, from then on in, I was hooked on Help Us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's difficult to put into words, and I've had this conversation with so many volunteers that have filtered through the organization over the past more than 25 years that's been in existence, that, you know, like, why leave this comfortable life that we have in Canada? And it's exactly stories just like that sort of pull you in and, you know, make you want to keep working to give these kids, you know, some support and have these conversations with them that maybe light something, spark something in them, to show them, you know, these are obstacles, but you can overcome them. You're special, you are loved, there are people here to support you. You know, your story reminded me of a similar conversation. Unfortunately, there's lots of those types of conversations that happen at camp, with a boy who was 17 years old. So, you know, really very, very young. Who was graduating from the orphanage system. And I was about midway through camp, and I was just speaking with him and said, okay, you know, like, what are your plans after the orphanage system? We have a scholarship program in place. So I think maybe I was talking about that program with him, and he had said, you know, again, very nonchalantly, just sort of said, you know, maybe I'll end up in prison. And I was so taken aback, because he was this, like, bright boy who was popular at camp and seemed to have a really good time at camp. And it was just so matter of fact, like, I'll probably end up in prison.
And he meant it.
And he meant it, right? He meant it. It was that, well, the statistics show that that's a real possibility for children who unfortunately are institutionalized. And I remember we just, after that, had this really long conversation about, well, that's not your only option. You know what I mean? We have a scholarship program, but also there are all of these other programs in place that are aimed to help you get a scholarship and to help with a stipend for your rent, and to go on and do, you know, what you're truly interested in. And he had said something along the lines of, oh, you know, I'm interested in, like, tinkering with electronics. And I said, that's a career path that you can explore.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so we had that conversation, and, you know, we spoke about it again during camp, and there were a couple of hotlines and support networks that I sort of pointed him towards. But after that, honestly, as happens when kids leave the orphanage and the institutions, our communication stopped, right? I hadn't really heard from him again after that summer for 2 or 3 years. And then I just remember one day, I got a message from a name that I recognized as his, and he had said, you know, I just want to let you know that I applied, attended, and am graduating from like an electrical college. And it was just,
Gives you goosebumps.
it gives you goosebumps. It
Yes.
was a conversation that maybe, I'm not saying it changed any huge part of his life, but maybe just had him think about that, hey, there are other possibilities for me, right? And that's the cool thing about a lot of our workshops, is that they're geared toward life skills and giving tools that maybe otherwise aren't discussed in the institutions where these children grow up, or they don't have that one-on-one conversation with somebody like, I'm almost an adult, what can my paths in lives be? And you know, it's great to see these awesome, resilient children that, you know, have lived through a lot, things we can't even imagine, go on to do great things and contribute to the Ukrainian society. So
it's an amazing experience, I think, for everybody involved, and we're so lucky to be part of that. And I look forward to many more years of us doing this together.
yes, me too. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, Petra.